Have you ever felt like someone in your life is steering your choices, shaping your decisions, or quietly pulling the strings of your independence? It's a subtle, creeping feeling, the sense that you're losing control over your own life. Control isn't always loud or obvious. Often it hides behind concern, care, or even love. But make no mistake, someone trying to control you erodes your freedom, your confidence, and your sense of self. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that every decision you make, what you wear, who you see, where you go, is influenced by someone else's opinions or expectations. It's not sudden, it's gradual, like water dripping on stone, until one day you barely recognize yourself. In this video, we're uncovering 5 clear signs someone is trying to control you. These behaviors may seem subtle at first, but once you recognize them, you'll see the patterns that hold you back. Understanding these signs isn't just about protecting yourself. It's about reclaiming your freedom and standing firm in your values. Stay until the end, because identifying control is just the first step. The real power lies in learning how to break free and live life on your own terms. Let's dive in. 1. They undermine your confidence. One of the clearest signs someone is trying to control you is when they actively work to undermine your confidence. This tactic often starts subtly, a backhanded compliment here, a small criticism there. But over time, it becomes a consistent pattern. They may belittle your accomplishments, dismiss your opinions, or even mock your interests. The goal? To plant seeds of doubt in your mind, so you become more dependent on their validation and approval. For example, imagine sharing a proud moment at work, and instead of celebrating your achievement, they downplay it with comments like, "Well, anyone could have done that," or "Let's not get ahead of ourselves." These remarks might seem insignificant at first, but their cumulative effect can erode your self-esteem. Controllers often disguise their behavior as helpful advice or just being honest, but the reality is that they're chipping away at your belief in yourself. This tactic is insidious because it makes you second-guess your abilities and decisions. Over time, you might start seeking their approval for even the smallest choices, fearing that you're not capable of deciding on your own. This dependency gives them the upper hand, allowing them to steer your actions and decisions without you realizing it. To counter this, it's essential to recognize when their words are designed to hurt rather than help. Develop a strong sense of self-awareness and remind yourself of your worth, independent of their opinions. Seek out people who uplift and support you, and don't hesitate to call out manipulative behavior when you see it. Remember, true confidence comes from within, and no one has the right to take that away from you. 2. They isolate you from others. Another hallmark of controlling behavior is the attempt to isolate you from your support system. This can happen in obvious ways, like directly forbidding you from seeing certain people, or in more covert ways, such as sowing seeds of doubt about your loved one's intentions. By cutting you off from family, friends, or colleagues, controllers aim to make you more reliant on them for emotional and social support. It often starts with subtle comments about the people in your life. "I don't think they really care about you," or "Your friends don't understand you the way I do." Over time, these remarks can create doubt and tension in your relationships, making you question the loyalty of those who've always been there for you. In extreme cases, they may even fabricate stories or exaggerate flaws in others to drive a wedge between you and your loved ones. Controllers thrive in environments where they are your sole confidant, making it easier for them to manipulate and steer your choices. Once you're isolated, you're less likely to receive outside perspectives that could challenge their narrative or help you see their behavior for what it truly is. Combating isolation requires vigilance and effort. Pay attention to patterns in their behavior and ask yourself if your circle has shrunk since they came into your life. Reconnect with trusted friends and family, even if it feels difficult at first. A strong support network can provide the clarity and encouragement needed to break free from controlling dynamics. Remember, healthy relationships encourage connections and independence. Anyone who tries to sever your ties with others is not acting in your best interest. 3. They use guilt to manipulate you. A classic sign of control is frequent guilt tripping. This tactic is designed to make you feel bad for asserting yourself, setting boundaries, or prioritizing your needs. By exploiting your sense of responsibility or empathy, a controlling person can manipulate you into doing what they want, even if it's against your better judgment. For example, imagine you need to cancel plans because you're overwhelmed or unwell, and their response is, "I guess I'm just not that important to you," or "I always put you first, but clearly you can't do the same for me." These statements aren't about expressing genuine hurt. They're calculated attempts to shift the blame onto you and make you feel guilty enough to comply. Guilt tripping can also appear in more subtle forms, such as reminding you of everything they've done for you. "After all I've done for you, this is how you repay me." This creates an emotional debt that makes you feel obligated to prioritize their needs over your own. Over time, this constant guilt can erode your ability to set boundaries. You might find yourself saying yes to things you don't want to do, just to avoid the emotional backlash. This not only compromises your independence, but also reinforces their control. To counteract this behavior, it's crucial to recognize guilt tripping for what it is: manipulation. Practice asserting your boundaries firmly but kindly, and remind yourself that prioritizing your well-being is not selfish. It's necessary. Surround yourself with people who respect your limits and won't make you feel guilty for taking care of yourself. Remember, genuine relationships are built on mutual respect, not emotional coercion. 4. They dominate decision-making. When someone insists on having the final say in every decision, whether it's as small as where to eat or as significant as your career choices, it's a clear attempt to control your independence. This behavior often starts under the guise of helpfulness, but it quickly evolves into an unbalanced dynamic where their preferences overshadow your autonomy. For instance, you might express a desire to take a certain job, only to hear, "I don't think that's the best choice for us," or "You're making a mistake. You should listen to me." They may frame their dominance as concern for your well-being, but the underlying motive is to assert their authority and minimize your agency. Controlling individuals often disguise their behavior as logic or expertise. "I know more about this than you do," or "You're too emotional to make the right call." Over time, this dynamic can make you second-guess your decisions and rely on them for validation, further cementing their control. In a healthy relationship, decisions, big or small, are collaborative, with both parties respecting each other's input and autonomy. When one person consistently dominates the decision-making process, it signals a lack of respect for the other's independence. To reclaim your agency, start by recognizing this pattern of control. Practice making decisions independently, even if they're small ones, and resist the urge to seek their approval. Assertively but calmly communicate your needs and preferences, reinforcing that your choices are your own. Building confidence in your decision-making ability is a key step in breaking free from their influence. Remember, your life is yours to lead, and no one should dictate your path. 5. They monitor or intrude on your privacy. One of the clearest signs of controlling behavior is when someone feels entitled to invade your personal space, whether it's your phone, email, social media accounts, or even your physical movements. This behavior is often framed as concern or love, but it's rooted in a need for control and an inability to trust. For instance, they might insist on knowing your passwords, check your messages without permission, or demand to know where you are and who you're with at all times. They may phrase their behavior as protective. "I'm just making sure you're safe," or "I want to make sure no one is taking advantage of you." While this might seem caring at first, it quickly becomes suffocating. This intrusion is not limited to digital privacy. They may question every detail of your day, insist on accompanying you everywhere, or get upset if you don't immediately respond to their calls or texts. Over time, these behaviors erode your sense of independence and make you feel as though you're under constant surveillance. What's especially damaging is the effect this has on your mental and emotional well-being. You may feel like you can't relax or be yourself because you're constantly worried about how they might interpret your actions. This lack of trust can make you feel guilty for things you haven't even done, as if you constantly need to justify your choices. To counter this behavior, set firm boundaries. Let them know that your privacy is not negotiable and that trust is a fundamental part of any healthy relationship. If they dismiss your concerns or continue to violate your boundaries, it's a clear sign that their behavior is about control, not care. Remember, a loving relationship is built on mutual respect and trust, not surveillance or suspicion. You have the right to your own space and the freedom to live without constant oversight. If you've made it this far, comment, "I choose freedom," to let me know you're committed to protecting your independence and self-respect. Remember, recognizing controlling behavior is the first step to reclaiming your power. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's an act of self-love and strength. Stay strong, trust your instincts, and always prioritize relationships that uplift and empower you. You deserve respect, trust, and the freedom to be yourself. If this message resonated with you, be sure to like, subscribe, and check out our next video for more insights on navigating life with confidence and wisdom. You've got this.